Title: I was released from the hospital a day early, and when I came home, I saw my wife and her lover in our bed. I left without a word, blocked all the cards, and changed the locks. But then, something happened that no one expected. Chapter 1. Discharge. The nurse smiled as she handed me my release papers. "You're good to go, Mr. Hayes. Doctor signed off early, said your recovery was ahead of schedule." I gave a faint smile and nodded, though my chest still ached slightly from the procedure. 3 nights in the hospital, hooked up to machines, and not a single visit from my wife, Claire. She had said she was too stressed to visit hospitals. Right. The cab ride home was quiet. My mind wandered from the smell of antiseptic to the comfort of my own bed, to the food Claire might have cooked, to how quiet the house would be with just the 2 of us again. As the car pulled into the driveway, I noticed something strange. Claire's car was there, but parked sideways across the driveway like she was in a hurry. That wasn't like her. I paid the driver, grabbed my overnight bag, and quietly stepped into the house. Everything was dark except for a single dim light coming from upstairs. I didn't call out. I don't know why. I just had a heavy feeling in my gut. Something was off. The stairs creaked beneath my feet as I made my way up. The bedroom door was half open. I pushed it gently. That's when I saw them. Claire and a man I didn't recognize, tangled in the sheets of my bed. Our wedding photo was still on the nightstand, tilted slightly, like it was watching the entire betrayal unfold. I stood there for a full 10 seconds. They didn't notice. No screaming, no confrontation, no breakdown, just silence. I slowly backed away, walked out the front door, got back into the cab that hadn't even left yet, and simply said, "Airport." Chapter 2. Lockdown. The cab driver glanced at me through the rearview mirror. "Airport? You just got home, man." I didn't respond. I was staring out the window, jaw tight, thoughts a storm of images and realizations. My wife, our bed, a stranger, laughter, that carefree way she once touched me. "Just drive," I muttered. But I didn't go to the airport. Midway there, I asked the driver to take me downtown instead, to my lawyer's office. I'd known Carl Matthews for years, back when I used to help him troubleshoot his computers on weekends. He owed me, and right now, I needed every favor I could cash in. 30 minutes later, I walked into his office, still wearing the sweatpants and zip-up hoodie I'd left the hospital in. "Tom?" Carl looked up, surprised. "You were supposed to be in recovery another day." I gave him a tired nod. Plans changed. He motioned me inside. I shut the door behind me, and in a low voice, I explained what I saw. I didn't raise my voice once. I didn't curse. I didn't cry. I just laid it out like a puzzle that had finally clicked together. Carl leaned back, hands clasped. "You want a divorce?" "Yes. But I want more than that." I reached into my bag and pulled out a file I had started preparing long before the hospital stay. Here are the deeds, the bank accounts, the power of attorney Claire never updated after our marriage. She never knew I restructured the business into a trust last year. Carl flipped through the pages. His eyebrows slowly lifted. "You've already moved everything?" "Everything," I said calmly. "The house, the business, the savings, transferred." Claire thought she had access to all of it, but she doesn't. He blinked. "She has no idea, does she?" I shook my head. "And by tonight she'll be locked out of the accounts, credit cards frozen, and she'll need a new place to sleep." Carl let out a low whistle. "You're going to war," No, I stood. I'm already winning it. Chapter 3. The locks clicked. By the time the sun began to dip below the skyline, the house that once echoed with memories of warmth and laughter had become a cold fortress, one I no longer welcomed her in. The locksmith arrived within hours. I didn't waste time. Every lock on every door was replaced. The garage opener was reset. The home security code she'd once chosen was disabled, and I had the alarm company flag her as unauthorized access. I knew she'd try to return once the fun was over. Once she realized what she'd lost. But I wasn't waiting. I drove to our bank next. The clerk looked surprised when I handed over my ID and asked to close the joint account. Claire had been spending from it for weeks like it was an endless stream, but she hadn't checked it today. She would. I moved the remaining $23,000 into my private account, the one she didn't know existed. Then I signed a form that would freeze any activity under her name, citing financial fraud and unauthorized access pending investigation. The manager didn't even flinch. "You're not the first," she said, sighing. "But you're one of the few who caught it in time." "Not caught," I corrected. I let her think she was winning. Next stop, our shared car. It wasn't technically in her name, though she'd always bragged about her luxury SUV. That afternoon, I had it picked up and returned to the dealership under our pre-agreed buyback clause. I didn't even need to be present. Just a phone call. A signature. Gone. By the time Claire and her lover walked up the driveway, probably thinking they'd sneak into our bed again, there was nothing left for them to enter. The key didn't work. The car was gone. Their credit cards were declined. I watched from across the street, standing beside Carl's SUV. He handed me a coffee. Claire banged on the door. I let her. Her voice rose in disbelief. "Tom? Tom, open the door. This isn't funny." Her lover, the smug idiot from earlier, tried to look tough. "Yo, open up, man. We're not here to fight." I sipped the coffee slowly. Then I turned to Carl and said, "Let's go." As the car pulled away, I looked back one last time. Claire had collapsed on the porch, crying now. Her lover pacing, checking his phone, probably realizing he no longer had anywhere to go either. But I didn't feel pity. Not an ounce. This was only the beginning. Chapter 4. The unraveling begins. The morning after the lockout, I was sipping coffee on the patio of a quiet hotel downtown, watching the early commuters scurry past with briefcases and earbuds. Peaceful, detached. Then my phone vibrated. 10 missed calls from Claire, 5 from unknown number. I could guess who that was. And 1 voicemail. I didn't listen to it. Instead, I opened the browser on my phone and visited the attorney's client portal. Everything was ready. Divorce papers, filed. Restraining order application, pending, with video evidence from the home security camera. Yes, I'd reviewed the footage. She didn't even close the blinds. I made sure the judge would see it too. Next was the civil suit. Claire had siphoned thousands from our joint savings, some of which were from my military disability benefits, protected under federal law. My lawyer said she'll either return the money or face criminal charges. I didn't care which. The best part? Her lover's name, Matt, was attached to a few of the charges too. She had transferred money directly to his Venmo. Rookie mistake. I also called the university. You see, Claire worked part-time in the administration office of a local college, and Matt was a tenured professor there. An email to the Title IX department, with clear documentation of their on-campus relationship, ensured an investigation was opened. Apparently, they'd used school property and time for their little getaways. I received a reply later that afternoon. Thank you for your report. This has been forwarded to the Office of Academic Integrity in HR. It was like setting a row of dominoes into motion. By lunchtime, Claire sent another message. Please, can we just talk? Everything's gotten out of control. We didn't mean to hurt you like this. I almost laughed out loud. They hadn't meant to hurt me? Of course they had. They just didn't think I'd respond this way. They expected a quiet, broken man. Instead, they got strategy. They got silence. They got the kind of revenge only a man who had once planned battlefield operations could deliver. And the best was still to come, because they hadn't yet realized who now owned the house, and who was about to visit her family with receipts. Chapter 5. The Family Meeting. Claire's parents had always treated me like an obligation, a placeholder until she found someone better. Her mother, Cynthia, once told me at Thanksgiving, "You're not exactly the husband we prayed for, but at least you pay the bills." I remembered that line word for word. So when I pulled into their suburban driveway that Sunday afternoon, I wasn't sure what to expect. I wore a calm smile and carried a slim folder under my arm. Claire opened the door. Her eyes widened. "What are you doing here?" "I brought something for your parents," I replied coolly. Before she could object, Cynthia appeared behind her with that familiar, condescending look. "Oh," she muttered. "The ghost returns." I didn't rise to the bait. "May I come in?" Claire hesitated. Cynthia smirked. "It's fine. Let the man speak." They led me into the living room where her father, Gerald, sat in his recliner, flipping through a golf magazine. "5 minutes," Claire said flatly. "Less," I promised. I opened the folder, carefully removing 3 documents. The first, a detailed breakdown of the $38,000 in unauthorized withdrawals Claire had made from our joint savings, including screenshots, timestamps, and the transaction where she sent money to Matt for a getaway. The second, a printed email from the college's ethics committee confirming the investigation into Professor Matthew Hale and Claire for professional misconduct. And the third, the new deed to the house. You see, Claire never noticed that I'd quietly sold the property weeks before our issues exploded. The buyer, my cousin Derek, who then leased it back to me for 1 month under a private contract. Claire was technically trespassing every minute she'd stayed there after the locks changed. Cynthia's face twisted first. "You're bluffing." I handed Gerald the documents. "You're welcome to verify them with the county registrar." He skimmed the paperwork in stunned silence. Claire was trembling. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer again," I said. "I'm pursuing recovery of funds, and if necessary, we'll go to court. Federal theft of VA-protected income is a felony." Claire's voice cracked. "Why are you doing this?" "For 12 years, I said quietly. "I put you first, and you let me come home from the hospital just to see you with another man in our bed. You mocked me, laughed at me." I turned to Cynthia. "And you encouraged it. So now I'm just returning the favor. Legally." Then I handed her one final paper, a cancellation notice for the mortgage assistance I'd been paying on their home every month without ever telling them. "I was going to surprise you with a full payoff in December," I added with a shrug. "But now, merry early foreclosure." And with that, I walked out. Behind me, I could hear Claire yelling, Cynthia sobbing, and Gerald shouting at both of them. It was music, but revenge wasn't about noise. It was about silence and strategy, and I was just getting started. Chapter 6. The Unraveling. In the weeks that followed, the silence from Claire's side of the world spoke volumes. No more mocking texts, no snide emails, nothing, because every corner of her once carefully curated life was falling apart. First came the eviction notice. Claire had ignored it at first, assuming I was bluffing about the ownership transfer. But when sheriff's deputies came to serve it in person, she broke down sobbing in front of the neighbors. Matt, her better man, was nowhere to be found. Turns out, his position at the college had been quietly suspended pending the ethics investigation. And when the screenshots of their messages surfaced, some on university servers, he didn't just lose his job. His tenured position was rescinded. Pension gone. Public apology issued by the college's board. His wife, by the way, had no idea until I sent her an envelope, anonymously, containing Claire and Matt's beach selfies with captions like, "He makes me feel alive again." Matt's wife filed for divorce immediately. Claire tried reaching out to her family. But Gerald? He refused to even answer her calls. Cynthia was too humiliated to show her face at the country club. They were now 3 months behind on their mortgage, and creditors were calling daily. As for Claire herself, she landed a retail job at a home goods store, the kind of place she once mocked on social media. But the best part? She tried to play the victim online. Facebook posts about betrayal, emotional manipulation, and how hard life had been. Except I had receipts. So one day, I simply created a burner account and replied to one of her dramatic posts with a polite comment. "Didn't you mock your disabled husband for being hospitalized while you were with your affair partner in his bed? Curious if that's in your next post too." Dozens of people liked it. Some shared it. Others commented with shock. Her social circle eroded overnight. That night she messaged me. "Claire, why are you doing this to me? Can't we at least talk?" Me. "I did talk, 12 years straight. You didn't listen." I blocked her. That was the last time I ever heard from Claire. Epilogue. 1 year later, I'm in a better place now, literally and figuratively. I bought a cozy cabin by a lake close to the VA hospital. I go fishing some mornings, volunteer with fellow veterans, and I started a nonprofit that helps military families secure housing and legal aid, funded partly by the restitution Claire was court-ordered to repay. Every month, like clockwork, $523.19 lands in the nonprofit's account. Claire's monthly court-ordered installment. People ask if I miss her. I don't. I just miss who I thought she was. But revenge? No. This wasn't revenge. This was closure. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you have. Think about this story in the comments below. Like the story. If you think this story is justified, share it with someone who needs this energy. And subscribe to Lauren's story for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned.